What's going on, guys? It's PokePond back with another video for you. We've got so much to talk about today. We've got another action-packed episode where we're talking about everything modern. Destined Rivals, Prismatic Evolution, Surging Sparks, a new bottom to the market potentially. Make sure you don't miss this one. Evolving Skies is doing crazy things as always. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Let's get into it. We got to start off the episode by talking about Destined Rivals. Destined Rivals is one of my favourite sets that's come out in a long time. We actually opened some up on the channel in the last video, so go check that out if that's something that you're interested in. But it's never going to change the fact that we're still going to do these price analysis and investment and news videos every weekend for you, just so that you don't have to pay attention to the market. You can subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. But yeah, I just love Destined Rivals. I really wanted to open some up as well, and I really just enjoyed opening it. So we're going to open up some more packs sort of midweek, do some more videos. I did say I'd open up a prismatic booster bundle later this next week probably, so keep your eyes peeled for that video if you're interested. But then normal investment videos are happening every weekend. So let's talk about Destined Rivals then. Destined Rivals is starting to come down in price a little bit, and like I've said in previous videos, you really need to be careful because I don't think it's going to come down that much more. And if you're looking at investing into it in sealed for the long haul, this isn't a bad price point to buy into it, I tell you. Like I've said in previous videos, I think it will come down a little bit more, but not too much. Like, if you're really trying to time the market and get the absolute cheapest, I'd still wait another couple of weeks before you move into it. Around about the 8-week window after release, you know, another month after now, you might get around about the absolute cheapest. But then again, it might all be gone. It might all be ripped or bought or sold and put away, and no new waves are ready to come out yet. So there is a very possible situation that in a few weeks time the price is going to be quite a bit higher. So it's just the risk you run. Me personally, I'm trying to buy 6. That's my target, 6 booster boxes. I've currently got 3. 2 are behind me on the shelf there. I've got another one in the back, and I want to build up 6 because I want a case for the long haul of Destined Rivals, because I really believe in it as a set, and I think it's going to be one of the top sets going forward in Scarlet and Violet. And just looking at the price point of it now, I really don't think it's bad to buy into it. Look, like prices $250 in the grand scheme of things. If you look at what that's going to be worth in 2 years time, 3 years time, 4 years time, if we take the past performance of some of the Sword and Shield sets, even the less desirable Sword and Shield sets that sat around for retail and sub-retail for a long time, like your Silver Tempest, your Brilliant Stars, they're really starting to flourish and do well. Now, past performance does not guarantee that Destined Rivals is going to do the same. However, I do think that it is a really strong set. I think it's a stronger set than Silver Tempest was. I think it's stronger than Brilliant was. And those sets sat around, like I said, for sub-retail for so long. Even when they were sold out, Brilliant Stars and Silver Tempest, you could pick them up for $200, sub $200 for ages. And I just don't see a situation where Destined Rivals gets into that. I think it's already starting to show in a short amount of time just how popular it's going to be on the long haul. But we always trade with data points, not emotionally. It's not all about what we feel about the set. It's about having a look at the data, and it is in a downward decline at the moment just because it was so overinflated with everyone trying to get their packs. Me personally, like I said, I've bought 3 out of my 6, which is my target, and then I'm going to cool off and move into other sets. I've actually not bought anything this week. I went a bit wild around the release. I got the 3 pretty early on, and then this week I've literally bought 0 Pokemon products, which is strange for me because I've been buying so much this year, more than I ever have. And it's really important that I stress to you guys as well that, like, we all have different financial situations. We all have different targets. Just because I want to put away 6 Destined Rivals doesn't mean you have to. You know, you might just want to buy 1 booster bundle and put that away. That's definitely how I started all those years ago when I first started doing this. I've been doing this a very long time. And do you know what? It's okay to take breaks as well. I know I've only taken like a 7-day break from buying stuff, but I'm at the peak of my buying right now. I'm buying more than I ever have. But I've gone 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, even a year probably over the last 10 years where I just take a step back. I'm happy with what I've got. I'm holding it. I don't need to buy any more. I don't need to put any more money in. Okay. So it's okay to take breaks. It's okay to not buy every set. Okay. That you talk to anyone who's been in the investing or anything like that for any length of time will tell you that they regret not buying more of this or more of that. It doesn't matter what you buy. It doesn't matter how many gains you have. You're always going to feel like that. Like, oh, I should have bought more of this. Or you're always going to think, oh, I could have done better. You can't get away from it. Like, even if you'd have bought Evolving Skies for retail, now it's going for $2,000. You're like, oh yeah, but I should have bought 2, or I should have bought a case when it was so cheap. You'll never be satisfied in your head. So it's okay to take a break. It's okay to chill off. I've personally not bought anything for the last week, and it's been nice to just look at the market, see what's going on. Like I said, Destined is coming down in price a little bit more. I'm just going to spread out buying my next 3 just over the next month or so. Once I've got that, then I'm going to start moving in to other things. If I see a really crazy deal, I'll probably move into it as well. But let's get back to it. So Destined Rivals, $250. It's come down in price a little bit. Last week average price was trending $261, so potentially about $11, about a 5% swing down in price. But it was obviously overinflated in the first place. You're always going to get people that bought it for retail. Wait and see what happens. Now they just are selling it, dumping it, etc. So you're always going to get a reduction in price. Last sold in the US is $237. Don't worry about the postage there. It's just being a bit weird, eBay, and trying to calculate what it would have cost to post it to me in the UK. I do live here in the UK. If you're new to the channel, I compare both US and UK prices so we can get a good view of the global market, and hopefully all of my viewers can get something out of these videos. Last sold in the UK is $198. That's the cheapest I've seen it in a little while. I've been paying an average of around about $205 for mine. So to see it come down in price, that's about a 2.5% drop in price in the UK here. Prismatic Evolutions has been coming down in price a little bit as well on the Elite Trainer box. Again, it's one of those situations where I think it's going to be one of the better sets of Scarlet and Violet, and I wouldn't try and time the market too much. We're at that point where we're starting to see a few sales sub $100, and I think that's a good price point to come into it, especially if you're going to hold it for the long haul. Yes, you might get it a little bit cheaper. If you hold out a couple of weeks, you might get a deal, but then again, you equally might not. It might pop back up to 105, 110. And in the grand scheme of things, once it's 200, 300 a box in a few years' time, that extra $5, $10 you might have saved, it really doesn't make that much difference in the long haul. It's better to make the play than miss the play trying to make an extra $5. So here you go. Look, it's come down in price a little bit. We're seeing a couple of sales just sub $100 and a couple of sales over $100, and these are all sales from today. All of this page is from today, so you're seeing a massive range in sales. Anything from right up to 109 there down to 198, and you're like, all right, well, that's only $10, but that's a 10% swing in like 10 sales, less than 10 sales. So there are deals to be had. Prismatic Evolutions is a good set going forward. There's still so much value in the singles as well. I think that it's very quickly going to get to a stage where we're in a year's time from now, 2 years time from now, we'll be looking back and just kicking ourselves for not buying more of it for $100. I really do believe in that, especially when you look at stuff like Crown Zenith that was printed into the absolute ground, and now it's just continually chunking up a couple of percent every single week. Again, another speciality set holding quite a lot of value in the singles. Printed into the ground, didn't matter. Once it goes out of print, chunking up in value. So Prismatic, even with all this Costco stuff, okay, Costco doing booster bundles and Elite Trainer boxes and whatever, I don't care. In the long run, it's not going to change anything. It's really not. After seeing what happened with Crown Zenith and seeing how that was printed into the ground, it was the same thing with Crown Zenith. Costco was selling crazy bundles of Crown Zenith. They were selling crazy bundles before that of Evolving Skies. What's that affected the price now? Once they're out of print and give it a bit of time, really doesn't make that much difference. That's why the price is coming down now. it's a good opportunity to buy. Yes, it might drop a little bit more, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Last sold in the US, $94. Last sold in the UK, £99. Like I said, $100, £100, about that range. For me, it's a buy. Really is. Let's talk about Journey Together then. Journey Together, the chart seems to just be broken. It seems to be a bit broken on a few of the sets at the moment on TCG Player, but we can have a look at the last sales here on TCG. $218, 210, 210, 218, 218. Probably gone up in price a little bit because it was flirting around about the 200, 205 mark last week when we looked at it, if I remember rightly. Again, everything in Scarlet and Violet is $200 a box or a little bit more. It's 2 to 210 for like the worst stuff and the bottom of the market. With the market conditions right now, retail, get that out of your mind. Unless you're really lucky and see one in the wild before it gets bought up, retail is not a thing. You need to start thinking about the market right now as $200 for any box. I'm talking about any set in Scarlet and Violet. $200 is a good deal because that bottom of the market is creeping up. A couple of weeks ago, that was 200, the floor of the market. Now it's creeping up more to around about 210. Look at this. You're seeing Journey selling for like 218, 210, 210, 218. And I'll tell you what, it's not the worst set, Journey Together. And it's one of the cheapest at the moment. But like I said, if you see anything around about that $200 mark at the moment for sealed booster boxes in the Scarlet and Violet era, snap it up, otherwise someone else will. Put it away for the long haul. It's really not that bad. And part of this whole thing and making plays isn't always about buying the hottest set. Yes, the hottest set generally does perform well in the long haul, but then a lot of people are putting it away as well. If you can get a good deal and a good price on something sealed now and you hold it for a couple of years, it doesn't really matter too much what the set is. Unless you get really unlucky and you end up with something like a Battle Styles or a Vivid Voltage or a Darkness Ablaze, something that doesn't perform as well as other things, but they're still going up in price as well. It's not always about making plays on the hottest sets. Yes, that's nice to have in your collection, but sometimes it's about scooping up deals. And Journey Together, I don't think it's a bad buy at this price point, but I tell you what, it would look a lot better if you see it for $200. If you saw $200 right now for a Journey Together sealed with a nice seal on it, I don't think that's a bad buy. I don't think it deserves to be at this price range. Look at this. The enhanced version with the box topper as well. Last sold on a buy it now. New listing, so someone just snapped it up straight away. Sub 200 a box. That is one of the cheapest. I think it's the second cheapest booster box on the market right now. I think the cheapest one is actually Scarlet and Violet Base, which is actually quite surprising to me as well, because Scarlet and Violet Base, again, I don't think is the worst set, and it's the oldest out of the Scarlet and Violet era as well, so I don't really see any reprints on it. It's probably pretty safe to be out of print now, Scarlet and Violet Base, so that looks cheap to me. That looks like an opportunity and an opportunity to move in and buy. Even the booster bundles for $30. That's not bad. That's $5 a pack in a little contained sealed product. That's a cheap entry to market. Now, I know people are slating Journey Together a bit now because it's just sitting a bit and all the scalpers are trying to dump it. But for those prices, in this current market condition, I think that's quite a good pickup, personally. Look at this in the UK. Look, retail. Full retail, £156. That is the real retail price. I know you see stuff on Pokemon Center sometimes for £142. That is not retail. That's the old retail price. £156 is the official retail price. Non-enhanced version, but that's quite common here in the UK at the moment. Retail sealed, guys. Do you know how crazy retail sealed sounds to all these American viewers? If these American viewers could get even Journey Together in the stores, sealed, sat on a shelf for retail, they would go mad. They honestly would. We're so fortunate here in the UK, we really are. But people don't make the plays because you never see what's right in front of you. Okay, you never do. People never do. You always focus on what's not there. Oh, I haven't got Destined, I need to pay more than that. Oh, I haven't got Surgeon and stuff like that. there's always opportunities and plays to make, but it's not always the hottest sets. Surging Sparks rebounded in price a little bit and has been for the last couple of weeks, $226. There's just none of it around in the market for retail. We're seeing crazy price points here. Look, $250 last sold. One sold for $313. That looks like price manipulation. $250, $248, $244. Basically $250 agreed price point. Really not that bad. And look at this. This is what I'm talking about accepting that $200 to $210 is the current floor for like the worst sets in Scarlet and Violet right now in the current market conditions. And look at this. Surgeon last sold 2 of them yesterday, US, $230. So if you start thinking of the floor of the market at 200, then 230 for Surgeon, when there's not much of it around, doesn't seem that bad a deal, does it? And this is how I'm starting to think at the moment, and I feel like this is giving me a competitive edge against other people, because other people are looking at that and Surgeon and being like, 230, that's X% over retail, 25%, 30% over retail, I'll wait till it comes out. I'm not so sure it will. I mean, yeah, it might drop down to like what, 220, 210 perhaps, but I don't see a world where it's ever going to drop down and be the cheapest booster box available on the secondary market. I don't see it dropping to 200. Even if it did drop to 200, I think it just bounces straight back up. I think it just gets bought straight out. 230 might be the new floor for Surging Sparks. Even if it's not, I think it's close to it. It may drop down another little leg over the next few weeks, but it might not. It might just keep going from here. Very interesting. Last sold in the UK, 188. I don't think that's a bad buy either, You're what, like 30 quid over retail for Surgeon? Surgeon's popular as well. It's really popular. Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer box while we're here, £130. Climbing up in value as well. Let's talk about 151 then. I don't always talk about 151. I do think 151 is up there with Destined Rivals, with Prismatic, with Paldean Fates, which we're going to talk about in a minute as well, as going to be one of the best sets of Scarlet and Violet. It's just continuing to pump the Elite Trainer box, because I think it's just getting rarer and rarer and rarer, the opportunity for 151 Elite Trainer boxes to get reprinted. There is always a premium on the Elite Trainer box. I think if we're going to see more heavy reprints of 151, which we could do, we could see more waves of it, it's going to be Blooming Waters boxes, and it's going to be booster bundles, because they're going to be easier to produce. I think the 151 Elite Trainer box, maybe there's a small chance we'll see one more wave, 2 more waves maybe of Elite Trainer boxes. I don't think we're going to see any though, and even if we do see some waves of it, I think they're just going to get bought out instantly. I think we're getting to the stage now where it's pretty safe to move into the Elite Trainer boxes, thinking that it's not going to get reprinted. And I tell you what, if they don't, they're just going to keep going to the moon, because 151, like it or not, will be one of the most popular iconic sets of Scarlet and Violet. It will do. It's just a fact. Whether you like it or not, whether you like the chasers or not, that Sun Charizard card as well, the Sun Zard card, that will be one of the most iconic cards. It's going to be one of the top 10 cards, 100%. Top 10 not just for like chase value and like actual value in a PSA 10, but just top 10 recognizable cards as well. It's synonymous with Scarlet and Violet. It's synonymous with 151. I think 151 is going to have a very good year and continue to pump. That's why I keep buying into the booster bundles, because the booster bundles are a really good way to get a good pack to cost ratio on it. The Elite Trainer box though, I think I'm going to buy a 151 Elite Trainer box, but I'm going to do my Destined case first. Otherwise I'll never finish that off, and the price will just get crazy. I think I'm going to finish off my Destined, and then I'm going to buy a 151 Elite Trainer box. I'm just honest with you guys about what I buy as well. I'm also going to be buying probably like some more booster bundles to open on the channel as well. I really enjoyed opening that pack the other day. Looking forward to opening up the Prismatic booster bundle, although it's going to hurt cutting that seal. I did actually buy that Prismatic booster bundle and that Destined Rivals booster bundle for retail price. So although it hurts because the prismatic has already gone up in price a bit, I'm not that bothered because I paid retail for it when it came out. So looking forward to opening that up. That'll probably be the next video. I'll upload it in a couple of days. Make sure you subscribe down below, whether you're here for the investment stuff or you just want to get involved with the pack openings and watch some of that as well. I am actually the luckiest man alive with pulling cards, so there you go. Who knows, might pull a god pack, might pull the Sunbury on, and then it's not going to hurt so much if I rip that seal. I know the pull rates are bad on it, but I'm just excited about opening it. I kind of want to open it now, to be honest, but we're going to hold off. We're going to record that in the next couple of days for you guys, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Like I said, 151 Elite Trainer Box pumping up in price. Last week it was averaging 234. Last sales on TCG Player 243, 249, 249. Just continuing to pump up a little bit in price. Last 3 months it's up pretty consistently 15%, and you can see the growth is pretty consistent going up on there. Last 6 months it's up nearly 100%. Last year it's up 250%. Absolutely nuts. It's so funny because when 151 came out, I remember going to one of the card stores in my area, and it's one that's like a big chain, and they always sell stuff for like over retail, which I hate. And I just remember seeing a massive display of 151 Elite Trainer boxes, and they couldn't move them because they were charging over retail for them, and they were sat there for weeks. And I was so tempted to buy one, and then I was just like, do you know what? Because it's just sat there and no one's buying it, I'm not going to touch it. It's the same with Paldea Evolved. Paldea Evolved Elite Trainer boxes were in every shop here in the UK, and for like a year they were just sat there. You could go into any random stationery shop or whatever shop that doesn't even normally sell Pokemon cards. They would all have a stand, and they would have Paldea Evolved Elite Trainer box sat there for way below retail, and they're just trying to shift it. It was getting dusty on the shelves, and it's just crazy now how those are now selling for way over retail. Same with the 151 Elite Trainer box. It's so hard to buy something when you're in the moment and you just see it sat around and no one else buying it. But there we go. Everyone's journey is full of regrets. Oh, I should have bought this, I should have bought that. It's just part of it. You're never going to be happy. It's never enough. It's never enough, believe me. It's never enough. You're just going to keep always wanting more, even if you made the best plays going. So yeah, 243 last sale on TCG Player, 240 bucks on US eBay. UK eBay, £200 on the button. Like I said, I'm going to buy one. It's going to take like a month or so before I buy one. The price has probably gone up again then. I'll probably have to pay 220, 240, something like that. But I want to finish off my Destined case challenge first before I buy anything else. And then I think a 151 Elite Trainer box will look good on the shelf behind us. So we're going to do that. Let's talk about Paldea Evolved then. Paldea Evolved had a big run up in price. Paldea Evolved is again going to be one of those top sets going forward. The fact that it's flirting with this $300 price point, okay, we had the big run up in price and now it's just bouncing around the $300 mark. That's exactly what was happening to Brilliant Stars and Silver Tempest just a couple of months ago. They were bouncing around the $300 mark, and they were well out of print then. Paldea Evolved bouncing around that mark while it's still definitely in print. Kind of crazy to me. Like, really kind of crazy. Some of these Scarlet and Violet sets are really starting to pull ahead now, and they're really starting to show how well the block and the era of Scarlet and Violet is going to perform over the long haul. I've started to say it more and more in my videos now, and it's a very controversial hot take, but I'm calling it early. Scarlet and Violet era is going to outperform Sword and Shield era, if for the same amount of time. Is what I'm talking about. Not like overall, because it's older, it's all out of print and stuff like that. I think that any set is really going to struggle to get up to the range of Evolving Skies. Evolving Skies was a complete anomaly. Completely. Like, for any set to rival that, I get these questions a lot. Oh, do you think Prismatic is going to do what Evolving Skies did? And my answer always is, I think Prismatic is going to do really well long term. But to try and compare it to the run-up in price that Evolving Skies had, those are some pretty big boots to fill. It's unlikely that any set in this era is going to do it. It's unlikely that any set in the next couple of years is going to have that kind of run. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but it's very unlikely. Very unlikely. Evolving Skies is its own thing. It should be in its own era, its own category. You got Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, and then just Evolving Skies. It's like its own its own little subcategory there. You can't compare it to anything else. It's just something else. But anyway, Paldea Evolved is having the same, not issue, but the same kind of resistance that we see common in this market, where it just bounces around that psychological point of $300. Once it breaks that $300 price point and you start to see multiple sales over it, 10 sales, 20 sales, couple of weeks over $300, I think it's going to have a real easy run then, and quick run up to 350, 360, 370, 380. Then it's going to slow down a bit, maybe a bit of a retrace in price back to around that 350 range, and then it's probably going to hover there a bit and then struggle to get above that sort of $400 range. That'll be its next bit of resistance after that. But I don't know how long it's going to take for it to break out above $300. It could take a month, it could take 6 months, but once it does, believe me, it will have quite an easy run up to 380, 390, and that has like a bit of a snowball effect as well, because once it starts pumping up and it moves quickly from 300 to about 380, you get a lot more people FOMOing into it. That will happen more and more as it's getting closer to going out of rotation and out of its print window, and that will then really start to push it to around about that $400 range. I'd expect to see it get there by the end of the year, definitely. If not, a lot sooner. It's definitely got the potential to get up to that $400 range sooner. Last sold in the US, $329. Last sold, look at this actually, look, $329 yesterday, $288 yesterday. Both buy it nows, $50 price swing. This one, this cheaper one, was just a dump, $288. It's still got its new listing tab on it, which showed it was just listed and bought out straight away because someone saw that as a deal. There are deals to be had in the market if you understand where these sets are going. A lot of people will look at Paldea for $288 and be like, that's market. You know, just let it sit, see what happens. The people that are really thinking long term know that the price is already here. They know the price is already at $330. So when they see $288, it's a no-brainer. They just buy it, snap it up. Someone did that. Someone bought that straight in. That's how you give yourself a competitive advantage in this market, okay? Be prepared to hold it for a long time so that if you do go underwater on it, if you do snap buy it for $288 and it drops to $250, it doesn't matter, because you know that by the time you come to sell it in a couple of years' time, it's going to be way above that anyway, so you can't lose it. A little dip in the market really gets smoothed out when you expand it to a longer time horizon. Right, we need to get moving because we've been waffling a lot, and it's becoming a running joke on the channel that I always say I don't want to be sat here for an hour talking about all of this, but it's always an hour. I can never stop it. The video's always an hour, whether I try and go fast or not. We just get talking, we get away. Notice that there's no cuts in these videos as well. You do an intro, I cut to this. I'm just talking. There's no script. I've got some tabs laid out as like a guide of what I want to talk about for some data, but we're just vibing. We're just going off the top of the tongue. I take no break. I'm not even coughing. I'm not sneezing. I'm not even taking a drink of water. I'm just going. This is just me. This is just my personality. Just putting it out there for you guys. Last sold in the UK, 250 all in, 245 with £5 postage. Creeping up there in price, it really is, and I think that it's going to be one of those sets that does really well long term, and I don't think there's going to be any more reprints of it, but it's obviously possible. Paldea Fates, one of my favourite sets. Love Paldea Fates, love Mimikyu as a character in general. I think the Elite Trainer box displays really well. Speciality set, so you don't have the booster boxes. And two of the best chase cards and most iconic chase cards as well. The dark looking Charizard card, which I think is one of the coolest Charizard arts. And I think in time, people will really appreciate that and it will really pump up in value. And you also have the Bubble Mew as well, which is really well received too. I actually saw the animation the other day, which inspired the Bubble Mew card. If you haven't seen that before, I recommend you check that out on YouTube. Super, super cool. Paldean Fates. I don't talk about it a lot. It is one of my favourite sets. I had 2 Elite Trainer boxes, basically. I sold one of them for market, which is about what the price is now in the UK, and I kept one. I want to keep one because I really love it, and I love having it in my collection, especially for the long haul. The reason why I sold the other one is because I'm expecting a reprint. Paldean Fates was heavily underprinted, which is why you're seeing this massive run-up in price. And the singles are doing really well for it. Well, especially the 2 main chase cards. That's why the price has run up. I will be very surprised if they don't reprint Paldean Fates. That's why I sold one, kept one. If they don't, though, it's going to the moon. And that's a massive oversight by Pokemon. I really do think that. $169 last sold. I'm really glad I've got one in my collection. It's really pumping up. 3 months, 25%. 6 months, up 120%. Paldean Fates isn't even that old, guys. Like, I would love to see big reprints on the Elite Trainer box and the booster bundles, and I would move way more into it. I'm just waiting and holding off, but I might be waiting forever. Might have missed the opportunity to buy more than that, but I don't think so. I think we're going to see a little bit of a reduction in price as they print more of it going forward. That's why I sold one of mine, kept one, because I'm not sure how it's going to go either way. That's why I don't talk about it much either, because it's very easy to see this chart and just go, oh, it's going in one direction, I'll just buy it. I think that there's a good chance they'll reprint it, and I feel like they really should as well, because it was really short printed. Last sold in the US, $150, with the Pokemon Center version going for $209. It's a shame they don't look that much different. Shout out to a friend of mine, reached out to me, one of my subscribers, offering to sell me their Pokemon Center version because they were going to sell it. They offered it to me first. If you're in the UK and you're selling some stuff for a good price, shout me out before you chuck it on eBay, because I might buy it. At PokePond1 on Instagram, I trade with a lot of people. I really was tempted to buy their Pokemon Center Elite version, but the problem is they don't look that much different. I love the sets where the Pokemon Center version looks a lot different, like, I don't know, Evolving Skies or something like that. They look so much better. Anyway, $150. Will it get cheaper with reprints? Possibly. I hope they do. Might not, though. If it doesn't, it's going to the moon. It's following 151. It's following in its footsteps. Last sold in the UK, £104. That's almost exactly what I sold mine for just over a month ago. I sold mine for 105. So I'm happy it hasn't just shot up in price. There's another one for the same day for 115. So potentially gone up a little bit, but I'm holding out for a reprint before I move in further into it. And if it doesn't get reprinted, I've still got one in my collection, so I'm still happy. Let's talk about Twilight Masquerade. Twilight Masquerade is one of the safest sets in my opinion. Has been available cheap for a long time. Got a lot of really good data going forward. Look at this. 6 months data up 60%. Years data up 132%. There was a lot of it in the market. It's still performing really well. It's getting up there in age a little bit as well. Probably going to go out of rotation within about 12 months. I think that it's old enough in the block that it's a lot safer from reprints than stuff like Surging. I feel like you need to look at like Surging onwards as like more likely to get reprinted, and everything pre-Surging I think it might get reprints, but even if it does, it'll be minimal because they're going to be focusing on the more recent sets and making sure that fans can get their hands on that for a decent price. I really do think that's where their focus is going to be, on Destined Rivals, Prismatic, Journey, Surgeon, basically. And whatever comes next after that, obviously Black and White, Inferno X, and whatever comes after that. All the mega sets or whatever they end up doing. Who knows? We're not going to speculate on that yet until we've got some hard facts. $267 last sold on TCG Player, $282. It's just creeping up there in price. Let's see, last week it was $247. Now it's like $267 with one at $282. That's quite an increase in price. That's like $20. That's like, what, 9%? What was it? Let's just double check. Yeah, 20 bucks. 20 bucks on 247. Let's calculate it out. 20 divided by 247. Ooh, 8% price rise. Nearly an 8.1% price rise on Twilight Masquerade last week. Really starting to pull ahead now. I think Twilight Masquerade's going to do well. The way I compare Twilight Masquerade is I see it so similar to Brilliant Stars. Sat around for a long time for retail and sub-retail. One heavy chase card that everyone loves, a fan favourite. You've got the Charizard art chase in Brilliant Stars. You've got the Greninja SIR chase in Twilight Masquerade. I compare them as quite similar sets. I think that it's going to perform similar to Brilliant Stars. I think Twilight Masquerade is going to be at the lower part of the top 5 sets. It's going to be set 4 or 5 out of the top 5. And I compare it, to your Silver Tempest, to your Brilliant Stars, once it's up there in the same amount of time. Not necessarily the sets are the same, but I think they're going to perform a similar sort of way. And I think we're going to run into the same issue that Paldea Evolved is starting to run into now, but in a few months, where it's going to flirt with that $300 price point, struggle to break through it for a few weeks, a few months maybe, and then once it does break through, have a quick run up in price to around about 360, 380. That's how I see it going forward. Last sold in the US, 224. I think this is a good price point to buy into it still. Yes, it was cheaper beforehand, but you've missed your opportunity on it, personally. I don't think there's going to be heavy reprints of it. Last sold in the UK, just a whisker under £200 when you include postage. Let's quickly whiz through Paradox Rift. Paradox Rift is like a bit of a meh set, in my opinion. I've regularly slated it as one of the worst sets, and this is what I'm talking about. If you think of the base of the market at 200 to 210, look at this. Paradox Rift is at 207. So to me, that's showing the bottom of the market. It's showing that it's one of the worst sets. And in my opinion, it is one of the worst sets. $207 now puts it as the second cheapest, or equal second cheapest. I think cheapest goes... Yeah, I think cheapest is Scarlet and Violet base, then Paradox Rift, then maybe Journey Together, and then Surgeon Sparks isn't that far behind it as well when you look at the secondary market. Do you know what I mean? When Paradox Rift is at like 207, Surgeon Sparks at like 225, 230 doesn't look like a bad buy. This is what I'm talking about. You need to look at the market as a whole. It's not just necessarily on the sets. And just accept the fact that you're not getting retail prices on the secondary market at the moment. Maybe on Shrouded Fable, but that's not a play in my opinion. Temporal Forces, let's see the price on that going forward. We're not going to do a massive analysis. Again, around about the bottom of the market, but like I said, pulling ahead a little bit on Paradox Rift. I prefer Temporal Forces to Paradox Rift. I like the Raging Bolt SIR in it. It's just something about that card. I think it's going to do well long term. $216. So around about $10 above the Paradox Rift box. But again, around the bottom of that market, bottom 3, bottom 4 sets, all still comfortably over $200. Nearly all of them over 210. Look at that, Paradox at 207. I'm not going to have a look at last solds on eBay for them because they're pretty straightforward. Like I said, they're bottom of the market. I do think they're fine going forward if you're going to buy them and hold them for the long haul, particularly Temporal Forces. It's the cheapest product you can pick up right now, bar Scarlet and Violet base, which we never talk about a lot. Look at this, last sold on TCG Player, 200, and that's including taxes. So last sold on eBay, look at this, $180. $180 last sold. That's one for a little bit more, but it's United Kingdom, it's an import. Look at that, $180. New listing. So again, it's a dump price. Someone knew the value in it. Someone knew $200 is the floor of the market. Listed it for 180. Anything sub 200 at the moment is an instant buy for a good seal on any set. Look at that, 179. If I'd have seen that and I'd have lived in the US, I would have bought that out instantly as well. I think that's a really good buy, whoever bought that going forward. So that technically makes Scarlet and Violet base the cheapest set going forward, and it's not the worst set, in my opinion. It's really not, and I don't think it's going to get reprinted. So Scarlet and Violet base is looking more and more like a play going forward. There's just understand that if you buy base, there's going to be less demand for selling it in the future, but equally there's going to be less people putting them away, so there's going to be less supply, particularly if you hold on to that for 5 years. How many people are going to be selling Scarlet and Violet base when you decide to in 5 years? There might be 4 on the market, 5 on the market. How many of them are actually a decent price and fair market price? 1, 2? You're almost getting to a stage then when you can name your price, and things can get very volatile because they can move up very quickly because there's not the supply of them. Quickly, we'll go through Pokemon Center US. It's not going to take long. Everything's sold out. That's the end of that. Pokemon Center UK, Paradox Rift and Temporal Forces available for retail. In fact, 143 is actually below retail, as I said. Current retail price is 156 officially, so you can get 2 booster boxes for sub-retail. American viewers would bite your hand off to be able to have that opportunity, but people in the UK aren't buying them because they don't see it as a play. You're sometimes blinded by what's right in front of you. Everyone just wants a hot set. Everyone wants Destined Rivals, me included. Everyone wants Prismatic. I've got a decent holding now on Temporal Forces just because I find that Temporal Forces is probably going to pull ahead a little bit more than Paradox, in my opinion. So I'm buying quite heavy into Temporal Forces. I feel like I'm probably going to buy more of it as well. I don't want to overly leverage myself too much in one of the weaker sets, but at the same time I still think it's a good deal. Yeah, we'll see what happens when I finish off my Destined case. We'll see what the market's saying then. If there's still more Temporal for 143, then I'll probably buy some. Also want to buy some collection pieces for myself as well, and want to get that 151 Elite Trainer box. But all of that could change in the time before I actually finish off my Destined case, depending on how long it takes me. Let's talk about Evolving Skies then. Evolving Skies, just steady at its all-time high basically. It looks like the chart's going up, but kind of it's just steady. There's just a bit of a swing in price. Look at this, swing between the 2 last sales, 1,914 to 1,897. It's just a bit of a swing. It's about similar to last week, but it's positive to see it selling right at the top of the market. Rather than retracing back down in price. It's been a bit volatile over the last few weeks, so to see it regularly selling around the peak of the market is great. Last sale in the US, $17.95. Like I said, Evolving Skies is just its own little thing. 2 sales here in the UK from 2 days ago, one for 1,400, one for 1,470. Again, not quite at its all-time high, but to see multiple sales close to the all-time high is just really positive. It's just price consolidating a little bit. I still think it's just going to be a monster going forward over the next coming years. Let's talk about Fusion Strike then. Fusion Strike is in a very similar situation. Basically, flat on the chart, but flat is not a problem when it's at an all-time high and it's had such a huge run up in price. Maybe it's reduced in price around about $20, something like that, consolidated a little bit, but a swing like that is really nothing to worry about at all. I mean, a 10% swing is what, $75? So to see it drop $20, it's like barely anything at all. It's just normal, and it's just holding at its all-time high. I would have expected to see it retrace in price a lot more than it has, and to see that it hasn't just shows that this is the new market price now. You know, if you want a box of Fusion, be prepared to pay around about the $750 range. eBay secondary market, 675 last sold, and Fusion Strike in the UK, 567. I just want to show you guys how mad this is. So I've always been like taking notes on what I've been buying and for what prices, but this year, this financial year, I've been writing them all down on a spreadsheet, and I've been writing them down in my little red book. This is a tip that I would give you guys going forward, is to write it down manually as well. The reason why is because I've got spreadsheets and stuff as well. I always just used to do it as notes on my phone, but I would never like put in the date and stuff like that. The reason why it's so beneficial to get yourself a little book to put it in whenever you buy anything and to put in the date is because if I'm not at my computer or I can't be bothered to turn my computer on and I'm just buying on my phone, it's an effort to load up my spreadsheet, and I'm not going to be encouraged to turn on my computer and do that. In fact, it's so nice to just load up the spreadsheet once a week, maybe sometimes even once a month, and then just move everything over from this. To be able to just have an old-fashioned bit of pen and paper and somewhere to store it every time I buy something, it's just a good habit. It doesn't take much effort for me to just come over, pick up a pen, quickly just write down, I bought Fusion Strike Booster Box, this date, this price. That's all it is. And what's really interesting is, if I open this up, look, I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but look, here's some of my buying from like the last couple of months. You can see I've got it all written down. I've got all my sales, everything. So, Fusion Strike Booster Box. Purchased 1st of April. We're currently on the 14th of June. So we are exactly to the day 10 weeks. So 10 weeks ago, I bought a Fusion Strike Booster Box for £350 on eBay. And that was expensive at the time. Market then was about £330. I paid about £20 over market to get a real minty one and with someone with good feedback. So I paid £350 and 97 pence, and now it's at 567. Okay, that is a 63% price rise in 10 weeks on something that already seemed overinflated, and a lot of people would have told you that you've already missed the boat on it. So it just goes to show how mad all these movements on Sword and Shield were. Okay, no one could have predicted the big leg up in price, but I predicted long haul it would have happened. I just didn't expect it to happen that quickly. So I just think that's really interesting how it's jumped so much up in value. 10 weeks ago, I almost had buyer's remorse. I was like, oh, was that the right decision to pay 20% over and buy it for $340? Obviously was. It's gone up, what, £227 in 10 weeks? Absolutely bonkers. Let's talk about Lost Origin then. This is going to be an hour-long episode again, I know it. Lost Origin is just holding at its all-time high as well. It's positive for me to see Lost Origin up around this 550 mark. When it was in the 300, 400 range, we were telling you it should be a $500 box all day long and above. It's so positive to actually see that come true now and to see it within striking range of Fusion Strike. It always should be, in my opinion, within $100 of Fusion Strike. It's close to $100 now, and it's closed the gap. I would say that Lost Origin is still a little bit undervalued. I still think it should be up there a little bit more. Look at this. Last sold in the US, $475. Even with the big run-ups in price, just looking at how the rest of Sword and Shield are going, I put Lost Origin in the top 3 sets. It goes for me Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, Lost Origin. And I've called that for a long time. I've called that for over a year before Fusion Strike overtook Lost Origin as well. I called that, and everyone told me, no, Lost Origin is better than Fusion Strike. It's always going to be worth more. And then we saw it pull ahead. So sometimes your gut feeling on the data and how the sets are performing really do come true in the market. It just takes a little bit of time. So yeah, 475. I think it should be in that 600 range, because I really do think that Fusion Strike is going to start poking 700-800 a box real soon. I think that we're going to see an $800 Fusion Strike by the end of the year. I'm pretty confident in that. And then, like I said, Lost Origin should be right behind it. It should be within $100 striking distance. It probably won't be, because it'll be undervalued. It'll probably be closer to around about that 600 range. But then it would be undervalued, and it should be around 700. Where I see the real true market value for the end of the year is at least 800 a box on Fusion, at least 700 a box on Lost Origin, but Lost Origin is probably going to be closer to 600. But all of this could happen a lot faster. We could see another big buyout on Sword and Shield, and then it could just accelerate up much quicker. We might not be at the end of the year. Those predictions could come right forward, but I do think that it's going to happen to the box. It's just a matter of when. Last sold in the UK, 412. Just looks cheap. Even with the big increases in price, just looks cheap to me. Crown Zenith, we're going to zip through these last bits. Crown Zenith is just the absolute monster. just gain on gain on gain. You know, people were saying 6 months ago, oh, it's at $100. I'll never pay $100 for that. That's so overpriced. Well, now it's at $175 with sales at $186. Like, it just continually goes up percentage points every single week. It's so safe at the moment, in my opinion. Look at this, $175. Last week we were averaging, let's see, 166. So it's gone up, what, $9 with a sale way over at 182. So $9 on 166. Let's have a look. 9 divided by 166 times 100. Another 5.4%. Every week it's either doing like 4%, 8%, 6%, 5%, 4%. It's just so consistent. It's crazy. Love a bit of Crown Zenith. If I had unlimited money, I would buy into way more Crown Zenith. There's just other things I want to buy first. Like I said, I want to finish off the Destined thing. It's not just an investment, it's also a collection thing for me. I just want to have a case of it going forward because I believe in it so much. I need to get some 151 in my portfolio as well. I've got booster bundles, but I really just want an Elite Trainer box. Again, it is an investment, but it's also a collection thing. If I was purely about the investment, I would just buy booster bundles of 151, but I really want an Elite Trainer box as well. So this is a really important thing that I can't stress enough on this channel. It's like, it's okay to be an investor and a collector. And you need to constantly reevaluate and ask yourself, how much percentage am I of each? Am I 90% investor, 10% collector? Or is it more the other way? Or is it more 50-50? And I find it changes as well. You need to keep asking yourself that question, and that's going to really help you with your purchases. You really need to ask yourself when you're buying it, say like a 151 Elite Trainer box, why am I buying this? Am I buying this because this is the best investment I can spend my money on? Because if you're only going to spend things that are your best investment going forward, maybe you just buy all Crown Zenith boxes. But to me, that's boring. I want to spread things out. I want collection pieces as well. It's just something interesting that I think I should stress, and something that's really helped me. Charts have kind of broken down for the last few sets here on TCG Player, but we can look at last solds. Brilliant Stars, $400 price point, now flirting with $400. A couple of sales last week around about the $430 range, so potentially dropped down in price and consolidated between 6 and 8%. Quite normal to see after a big run up in price that a lot of the Sword and Shield boxes saw. It's still way up over the last 3 months and last year, so really nothing to worry about. Good set going forward. Don't know why I've got 2 Brilliant Stars tabs open. I obviously meant to have a Silver Tempest tab open, so we will open up the Silver Tempest tab as well. Let's have a look at what it's doing. We'll analyse it live for you. Chart's not looking too bad. We had the big run up in price. We can see the price consolidation down here, and now just hovering there. Let's look at last week. Average price of 343. I expect it to be about the same. Let's filter out the photo posts. 343, 350, 349, potentially up $7, which is around about, what, almost exactly 2%. So 2% rise potentially. Still a little bit off of its all-time high, but hovering pretty close to it. Still, again, massively up. Managed to smash through that $300 price point. I don't think it's ever going to go back to that $300 price point again. I think that these 2 sets, particularly Brilliant Stars and Silver Tempest, are really paving the way on what's going to happen going forward with Paldea Evolved and Twilight Masquerade. I think they're both going to perform very similar in the long run. Let's finish off by looking at Brilliant Stars last sold then. Yeah, $420, not too bad. I actually didn't prepare for the end of the video what we normally do, where we look at something a little bit different. Should we just do something a little bit different? This is sometimes something that I like to do. I've never done it on the channel, and I like to search for something like Pokemon Sealed. Now this is completely all unplanned. Pokemon Sealed, and we look at sold, and we just see what's been selling in the Pokemon Sealed look, it's already set up for sold listings because it knows. Let's just see what's selling. Import from the UK, a Paldean Fates box. Interesting. Look at this. All of the last sold stuff on American eBay is imports from the UK. This is what I'm saying, guys. The retail arbitrage is strong. This is why this channel is so useful. And I'm not trying to have an ego or anything like that. You need to compare international markets because international trade on sealed product is getting more and more common. It really is. Let's see what else is selling. Assorted stacking tins. Again, look, import from the UK. Okay, here's something interesting. Paldean Fates ETB sealed case for $9.50. So you get what, 10? Oh, they're Pokemon Center versions. I was going to say, that's really expensive. That's like $95 each for an ETB, but it's Pokemon Center version. Okay, fine. We got some singles selling. Collection box. Gyarados collection box. Is that a little bit older? It's an EX box. It's not too old. We've got some gym promo packs from Japan selling. Look at this, another import from the UK. I wish I could filter it to just show US stuff. You can if you're in the US on US eBay, but you can't. I can't because I'm in the UK, so it forces me to see UK stuff. Look at this, prismatic booster bundles going for $60 now, and we've got the Destined Rivals ETBs going for $83. 151 booster bundles for $60. Honestly, that's cheap. We're paying £60 for them over here, which is like, what, like 70, $80? Something like that. Is it? Something like that. It's definitely more than $70 than what we're paying at the moment. So, me personally, I'm loading up on them. I think you can see some on the shelf there. I think the pack to cost ratio for 151 for booster bundles is excellent. I think the booster bundles are going to perform well long term. Could see more reprints of them going forward. I don't think it's going to affect things that massively in the long haul. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll put my Instagram link down below. I also have a join subscription service. If you join on the highest value plan, I connect with you on Instagram and I will teach you and be at your beck and call to answer any questions if that's something that you want to do. The people who get the most out of that are the people who are moving in. Perhaps they're about to move some of their savings into sealed and spend a decent amount of money, and by paying that small fee for me once a month, I can give them that guidance on what the best things are to buy, and so hopefully mean that I save them a lot of money, and also make sure they buy some products that will gain in a lot more value than what they would have bought without my guidance. So that's what that service is there for. It's completely optional, paid service if anyone's interested. We're going to open up a prismatic booster bundle later on in the week, so make sure you stay tuned to that as well. And if you want to see me opening up the Destined Rivals booster bundle earlier this week, go out and check the last video. I had so much fun doing that. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Smash that like button to help me out, push my video out there further if you enjoyed today's episode. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and peace.